Judith beheading Holofernes, Caravaggio, and Gentileschi. My theme will be gender representation. We will be analyzing Judith beheading Holofernes, a biblical event that depicts Judith, a young Jewish widow who saved her people from the Assyrians by decapitating their general with her own hands. This imagery had been popular since the 1400s, but it had never been shown as graphically or brutally until Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio's interpretation around 1599. Caravaggio was known for his bold style and ambitious personality. His realism and use of techniques such as chiaroscuro stood in sharp contrast to the classicism and idealism of Carracci, his main artistic rival in Italy. Judith beheading Holofernes is a prime example of Caravaggio's trademark realism. Considered his first historical work, Judith was the beginning point of a phase marked by contrast between light and dark, one of the calling cards of the Baroque period. In this piece, we see Holofernes' body angled in such a way that it seems as if he's coming out of the dark background and reaching out to us for help, as he looks to the heavens in desperation during the final moments of his life. Blood is spilling onto the sheets as the light comes down from the top left to highlight Judith as her assistant Abra, who Caravaggio changed to an old woman instead of a young woman in the original story, watches in horror. Caravaggio uses Holofernes' body and Judith's arms as diagonal lines to draw our eyes to the decapitation. It should be noted that despite Judith using all of her strength to commit this act, her body is depicted as slender and meek, and she is positioned rather far from Holofernes in order to create more of a contrast between the two. Artemisia Gentileschi's interpretation of Judith beheading Holofernes, painted around 20 years after Caravaggio, is much more cramped in comparison. The foreshortening of Judith's torso gives the impression that she's standing directly over Holofernes as she saws away at his neck. She just looks more powerful here. While in Caravaggio's version, blood is spilling down from his neck, Gentileschi has the blood spewing everywhere, even onto the blouse and hands of Judith. Notice Abra is much younger in this painting, as she is actively participating by holding Holofernes' hands down, rather than acting as an extension of the audience in Caravaggio's piece. More so than Caravaggio, Gentileschi depicts Judith beheading Holofernes as a more realistic scene, where two women work together and overpower the drunken Assyrian general. This work has generally come to represent Gentileschi's journey as she tried to make a name for herself in a world dominated by men. She painted this shortly after she was raped in Rome, and some speculate she chose to paint Judith as a form of visual revenge. Gentileschi got such a strong reaction to this work that it was denied entry into the gallery in Florence, and she was only able to get paid for this piece after Galileo vouched for her. Gentileschi would go on to have the last laugh, however, as she became the first woman to enter the Academy of Art and Design in Florence and worked in Rome, Florence, Naples, and England. And here's my works cited page.